Woolley. I'm the president of SA Schools Netball and currently teaching at Supersport, Florida. Well, as a youngster, I was very involved with sport. I did athletics, I did some cricket, I did hockey, and then netball was not part of that picture at all. And I used to do a lot of training. I trained before school, after school, at school, and then at my club in the evenings. And sport was just something that was exhilarating. It gave me a purpose, it gave me an excitement to go and see how the fruits of my labour became something on an athletics track. And I think that's where my love for sport started. You know, sport just gives a different dimension to life. The biggest challenges were to stand up to the male sector of our world, because male sport is dominant, and we do have a scenario of where male sport thinks they are more important than any other sport. But I think in the sport that I'm currently involved in, we've begun to show that we're just as equal, that we are just as formidable, in fact probably a little more organised than most. They always used to look down on women. Even now they still think that women are just meant to be working in the kitchen, working at home, instead of being administrators, instead of being in the business world, and instead of being in the sports world. And if I look at the women that have excelled in the sports world, in the business world, it's just been phenomenal to see how we have actually been given the space, but we've had to fight for the space. It hasn't been easy. It's all about planning. You sit down and you do something and you do it to full completion, but it's also about multitasking. Sometimes you've got to touch base with one thing for an hour, the next thing for an hour, the next thing for an hour, but you've just got to be willing to actually do the work. You can't sit back and say, okay, tomorrow's another day, because tomorrow brings its own challenges. So you have to face those challenges and complete the challenges in any particular day. When I was in my early years of teaching, because I did physical education, my principal said I must do netball, and I said, but I don't know how to play the game. So they said, go and learn, which I then did. And my children asked me to go to trials, and at the trials they said, okay, those who played last year, go and sit this side and we'll see what we need to fill up the team. And I said, but that's not fair. You've got to give every child a fair opportunity. And I think that's where my passion grew, is because of the injustices towards children, because children are my passion. I don't have any of my own, but I have lots of children that have gone through my hands, and I think that's where my passion came, is to see that all children have equal opportunities. And the one thing that I thrive on is my integrity to make sure that children have equal opportunities. I've just seen women's sport grow, whether it be hockey, whether it be athletics, whether it be netball. And in netball particular, I think we have grown because we have a national selected team competition from under 12 all the way through to under 18. We also have school-based competitions nationally from under 12 to under 19. We have Fast 5, and our rural schools are beginning to grow and develop. They are beginning to get facilities because of what they've achieved. And I think for me, when I just look around and I see a lot of my township schools also now getting facilities because they've gone out there to show that they are the best, and so sponsors have come on board. In fact, next month we're taking 2 teams into Eswatini to go and play in the Kusasa Games, along with athletics, where there'll be other girl-type children going as well. And I think it's just wonderful, because every year we go to Singapore with the under 15 school teams to go and participate there. We also participate internationally. So we give our coaches, our officials opportunities, as well as the children. And I think for me, that's the growth I've seen. If I look at the numbers way back in 1994 to the numbers we have today, well, we've got nearly 17,000 of the 27,000 schools participating in schools netball. We have been looking at two streams in netball, Ubuntu and a Botu section, which is trying to sort out the imbalances of the past. And I would like to, within max the next 5 years, see that there's just one stream where everybody is playing zonke bonke across the board. Because it's important that if you want to be the best, you've got to play with the best. And people mustn't see themselves as being inferior or less than anyone else. And I do believe that that's going to be possible. I have to start with my mother. She's always supported. She was always there for me and made sure that I became the success that I wanted to be. Then in the netball world, Loki Lowe, who has passed on, she was the president of schools netball for many years prior to me. She taught me a lot about living the dream, going out there and just getting everything that you wanted. And then of course my icon at the moment is Kaz Naidu, and a woman in cricket. Hey, what more can one ask? She has just excelled. I don't think we'll ever be enough, because when is enough enough? But I do believe that we have a lot of very prominent women in sport that are making decisions. We've got the support of government, we've got the support of civil society, and I do believe that we will be making inroads and that more and more women will come to the fore and say, I want to be noticed, I want to take up the space. One can dream beyond the sports field, but that there's the opportunity. In my youth, when I was still doing a bit of officiating, I excelled and reached the highest echelons. Then I became an administrator, I did coaching, and yeah, now there's things like sports injuries, sports science, psychology, safeguarding, gender-based violence that you've got to work through, commercial, television. I mean, the sky's the limit. You don't have to just be a netball player. You can just go out there and be whoever you want to be. When I was able to stage the Africa Netball Championships here at Florida 2 years ago, it was the first, and we invited Africa countries to come and participate. It was a schools-based tournament. And I think when I stood here and saw the wealth of talent in the rest of Africa, that made me feel really proud. My darling out there, never give up, because you never know when that moment is going to be yours to be selected into a school team, into a provincial team, into a national team, or even into being a Protea. I remember there was a young child a long time ago, when we were just starting in our new country, Ruski Mtetwa. She came from Kwatema, and we happened to see this child as an amazing player, and we found an opportunity for her to go to Krugersdorp High because they had a hostel. It was an English school, and Ruski went on to become a Protea player. You know, those are the successes, and one must never think because of your beginnings, because of your circumstances, one must remain there. If you have a dream, Martin Luther King said, go and live it. If you have a dream, it will be yours. And I think that's the message that I want to give, is that you've got to hold on to that dream. No matter how long it takes, you'll eventually achieve it. Never give up. Success lies in getting up one more time than you've fallen. So yeah, if you get put down, you just get up and show the world out there that you can, and you will. And I think that's half the success recipe that one can have, is just to continue going, to make sure that the dream that you have becomes a reality. Well, I've got a a famous little saying that I always quote, that in one success, 1,000 failures may lie forgotten, but in one failure to try, 1,000 successes might prematurely die. And I think that for me is my philosophy, that success is not measured by how many wins you've got. Success is not measured by how much money you make. Success is not measured by that which you see on the sporting field, but success is measured by the number of people that come up to you and say, "Wow, thanks for making a difference in my life."